Worth, Texas, and we start with our colleague Matt Youmans. His plays for the Charles Schwab Challenge, the futures to win the tournament. Justin Thomas, he went up higher on the board there. He is one of the pre-tournament favorites. Rory McIlroy is your lowest choice. Thomas at 17-1. Youmans is going to back him, and I think part of the reasoning there is how typically well Thomas starts off a season. We've seen him win in Hawaii, and this is kind of like the restart of a season here. Bryson DeChambeau at 28-1. One of the guys Paul Stone is fading in 4 trips to Colonial. He's missed the cut 3 times, and DeChambeau is at 28-1. Tony Finau, another one of Youmans' selections who has had very good success here in the past at Colonial in just a few visits. And then finally, Jordan Spieth, maybe the most controversial selection. He's had great history here at Colonial, but in a real slump for really the better part of 3 years. We'll see how Spieth can do in his return to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, of course, where he grew up and went to college. As far as the head-to-head matchups for Mr. Youmans, he's got Matt Kuchar at -125 over Matthew Fitzpatrick. He is lined up there with Paul Stone on that one. And then he goes back to Jordan Spieth with a head-to-head matchup over Justin Rose, and Spieth the underdog in this one. Youmans catching +115.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jordan Spieth, and that could transition into mine. I'm also on Jordan Spieth this week. And look, shop around for numbers, mid-40, 50, some to 1 range. So that's where you want to look. One thing about Spieth is not only his success here, 8th or better in 5 of 7 appearances, including a win and 2 runners-up. Never has missed a cut here at Colonial. Layoff could have done him some good. His coach, Cam McCormick, is based at the Old American Golf Club in Colony, Texas, which is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So he's done a lot of work with his coach, and I think that that'll serve him well. Top player in overall strokes gained per round over the last 10 years, caveat being the minimum of 10 rounds. That would be Jordan Spieth, 2.4 strokes gained per round. So he was one of my top selections. Matt Kuchar, I think it's a big price, and he comes in with a good frame of mind. He's got some top 10s here, runner-up in 2013. He usually starts the season off pretty solid off a layoff. And obviously next week at Hilton Head, that's one of his best courses for the RBC Heritage. So I think he's in a really good frame of mind. He's got a lot of experience here. He's, I believe, made 11 appearances at Colonial, which leads me to the next guy who has the most logged tournament rounds of any player in the field at Colonial. As Paul Stone mentioned earlier, he is a member. That would be Ryan Palmer, who resides in Colleyville, Texas, which is a suburb of Fort Worth. Played his college golf at Texas A&M and College Station, so nearby. Palmer's got 56 total tournament rounds here, 4 top 6s in his last 8 appearances, shot all 4 rounds in the 60s last year and finishing tied for 6th. Don't forget, he finished tied for 4th in Hawaii earlier this year at the Sony. He was also in the final group on Sunday at the Farmers Insurance Open. I know Matt Youmans and I both had him.
I remember that.
A disappointing T21 because he shot 77. He was in the final group with Rory McIlroy and Jon Rahm, number 1 and number 2 in the world. So, but look, this is course experience. He's going to know the sight lines off the tee, knowing when and where to attack, when he's got to play it safe. Harris English, another guy whose form kind of turned around, also got him at 70-1. Solid record here at Colonial. Has made 5 of 6 cuts. Was runner-up in 2016, where he ran into the Jordan Spieth of old.
Yep.
The Jordan Spieth, the year before, who had won 2 majors, both at the Masters and U.S. Open. So English played well enough to win that event. Unfortunately, didn't get it done, but has really played solid. Had 4 top 6 finishes dating back to the PGA Tour Fall Series, and then you see that strokes gained at Colonial graphic. Harris English right there in the top 10 for that graphic. So Abraham Answer, 80-1. That was a little bit more of a speculative play. He's in the top 30 in the world right now. Kind of pedestrian here in 2 appearances. Made the cut, but finished in like the 50 range. But just some good price value here. Kevin Kisner loves this type of course. Par 70, tight layout, plays very well. Look for him maybe at the RBC next week, too. He's a South Carolina native, so that'd be a guy to keep an eye on. He's got a victory here, a top 5 and a top 10, respectively. So 90-1, I thought that was a big price. Tom Hoge, Paul stole my thunder a little bit. He played his collegiate golf at TCU right there in Fort Worth. Very familiar. I've played him a couple times already this year in the West Coast Swing. He's playing arguably the best and the most consistent golf of his career. 2 top 6 finishes, 4 top 15s just in 2020 with the limited amount of events due to the pandemic. So Hogue at 145 is a long shot. Duffner was kind of a shot in the dark. 2 runner-up finishes here. I think he at least knows the course. He could maybe finish up high. And then real quick on the matchups, because I want to give you time, Brady. I did take Schauffele in his matchups. That was kind of just more of a fade of DJ and a little bit of Sungjae Im, because I'm not sure what Sungjae Im is going to know what to do with himself, considering he hadn't played in 3 months, and he plays damn near every single week on the PGA Tour. So I'm not sure what he's going to, how he's going to start out. Morikawa over Tony Finau was another matchup, and then Kuchar over Rose. Rose just has not been in that good of a form, and I think Kuchar, even though Rose has won here before, Kuchar is more of a horse for course here, so those were my matchup selections.
Yeah, and I took 4 plays in the futures market, went with a shorter favorite, a couple of mid-range, and then a long shot. My one towards the top of the board was Jon Rahm. In 3 appearances here, he has 2 top 5 finishes. Rory McIlroy certainly looks like the best player in the world. There's a reason Jon Rahm is number 2. He's that good. I also took a shot with Xander Schauffele at 28-1, just going off of the theory that he's great to start the season. He won 2 years ago at Kapalua in Hawaii and then lost in a playoff this year. So he comes out of the gate hot. You make the statement that he hasn't had much time to practice in California. That's certainly a deterrent. But if he's getting off to a hot start again to start this reboot, if you will, I like his chances here. Very good putter, good ball striker. And then I'm on Kuchar. I don't think you had him for a future, but you have him in a match.
Yeah, I've got him for a future.
You do? Okay, you've got him. I found him at 71-1 at Circa. I just felt that price was way too high. He's been here 11 times, as you mentioned. He's finished in the top 10 3 times, and he's got that very favorable spot next week at the Heritage. And Kuchar, another guy that starts out a new season very well. We've seen him have success in Hawaii and Phoenix. Rory Sabbatini was my big long shot.
I like your angle here. I almost used him.
Been here 19 times, finished top 10 5 times. He's won it before. Got him at 200-1 at Circa. I don't know if this guy is going to win the thing, but I think he certainly has a shot. This is a course where you need experience. It's similar to Augusta in the fact that it's one of the longest running tour events to be held at the same venue. It's also similar to Augusta where you need to log some experience here. Obviously, Rory Sabbatini has that in spades.
2 interesting nuggets on Sabbatini here. I mentioned in terms of logging tournament rounds, and we had that graphic up earlier, Ryan Palmer being number 1. Number 2, along with Zach Johnson, Rory Sabbatini's got 52 career tournament rounds here and has had some really good finishes. And also, I'm going to be interested to see Sabatini's mindset, because one of the big stories around him is that he actually reclassified. He's married to a woman from Slovakia and redid his citizenship to be a Slovakian citizen. He's from South Africa, to be able to represent them in the Olympics this summer for golf, which we are now not having in Tokyo. That'll be next year in 2021. So now that's all kind of out of his mind. And he's had a little bit of time with this pandemic to get over the disappointment of not being able to do that. So you may see him come out and fire here. I don't dislike that play at all. I think that's worth a nibble at least.
And those two reside in South Florida, so he's certainly had time and availability to practice. Matt Kuchar is in Georgia. He's had ability to practice. And, of course, Jon Rahm in Arizona. The golf courses have been open there. Xander Schauffele, really the only guy that may not have logged as many practice hours as the rest of my future plays. As far as the full tournament head-to-head matchups, I took Jason Day over Louis Oosthuizen. Day has been practicing and performing very well in his native Australia. He's obviously had time to recover from his injury problems that he seems to have quite often. Like Tiger Woods, I believe the layoff will do very well for Jason Day. Tremendous short game. That's one of the biggest things here at Colonial. Chipping and putting. Not many better in the world than Jason Day. Oosthuizen has had some success here as well, but I think if push comes to shove, Day, when healthy, is the better player there. He's at a pick'em at -110. And then Sabbatini, I went back to the well with him, also at -110 over Ryan Moore. Ryan Moore, you would think, is a type of player that fits this venue. He's been here 8 times. He has never finished top 10. I believe his best finish was 26th.
Very similar to Lucas Glover, who has a ton of rounds here, but just has never achieved the success. But look, they like the course, I guess, but they haven't shown the results, certainly.
I also think we should make the statement, Wes, that coming back to the PGA Tour here, they've had 91 days off from playing. We've had 91 days off from betting. I would be very conservative with this stuff. Don't go crazy. Let a few weeks go by.
And don't get discouraged if you get a bunch of guys miss the cut on the futures board. Because
I mean, take a few shots, have some fun, but this is probably more of an educational week than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to kind of at least get a gauge. You won't be able to do like recent form until they get 3 or 4 tournaments under their belt here come July.
Next week, we dive into the RBC Heritage from Hilton Head, South Carolina. Longtime golf professional and handicapper from North Carolina, Ryan Brickley, will be back to join us, a multi-time long shots guest to help us break down the action from Hilton Head. We'll talk to you next time right here on VSiN.
New to VSiN, the best way to learn more about sports betting and how VSiN can help you is to sign up for our free daily email. You'll receive an email every morning with show highlights and expert insights. Sign up for free today at vsin.com/email. That's vsin.com/email.
VSiN, the sports betting network, has more ways than ever for you to connect with us. Introducing the